Hold on. Okay. All right. So, Tony, do you have access to the documents?
I have documents sent to me between Abby and I, and then Michael shared a few with me. I don't know if I have all of them though. He
Okay.
sent me 4 copies, 2 writs and.
Abilene, can you add him to the email chain? I'll give him access to where we're posting all the stuff.
I just did.
Okay. And
I'll just need rolls for it.
yep. So are you sure you're in here? I don't see your name.
Tony, did you get my?
No, I gotta redo my name, my name tag.
Where do I see his name? I'm so confused. Oh, I think I know, because we don't have like a landing or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so the TLDR. Oh, here we go.
What's the TLDR?
I'm just making sure Tony can get all these docs.
Yeah, I can't see anything besides.
Add role. There we go. External console. Do you now see the one section called shit loading?
Yeah.
Yeah. We call it that because, you know, that's what's been happening to us. So in there, you will see 8 separate documents. Some of these documents I think should be split. For example, there's okay, so here's what's going on, right? There's going to be a meeting with the governor at 7 p.m. Eastern. I submitted the writ of mandamus for the reinstatement of Pred. That's going to be that second document. Can you send a copy of that to Pred so he can see it?
Sure, that's the one that Michael wrote up, right?
Correct. This was submitted to the DOJ. For some odd reason, instead of, like, posting it, they fucking all responded. So, like, via email. So, at which point, you know, I'm just like, the fuck is this? So, I sent it to the governor, and I'm like, this is dog shit. And we're meeting at 7 p.m. to discuss that among some other things. Including the response that was given. Now, I know there's a lot of things that I'm sure everyone wants to do, but I think at the top of the fucking list needs to be reviewing these documents to make sure there isn't any facts or arguments that are missing from any of them. Because I want to post all of these up to the docket. Some of the impeachments have like 7 people named in them. Some of them I want to split into their own thing. For example, the one against Spade and Matt, I think should be done separately because, and I want to hear your opinion on this, separately because LSPD, we can always negotiate with the LSPD directly. Mixing them with the marshals is politically and strategically not the move. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I would rather separate them by department, to be honest. It just makes things easier for discussion later on.
Yes.
Because otherwise, they're like, well, if you're reporting into one party in this case, why not the other?
Yeah. Now,
I'd rather separate them out.
Yep. And I would like to, when we walk into that meeting at 7 p.m., that it's rather clear that we are coming in with a lot of ammo. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that will show, because I warned them, I'm like, y'all about to get fucked in the ass. Is this really what needs to be done? They said, bring it on. I'm like, I bet. So, and the crazy thing is each one of these things are probably going to get pushed up all the way to the governor because they're all fucking conflicted.
And the only person I can think of that's not conflict is on LOA, which is Grayson.
Correct. Abilene,
But
what are your
even then-
thoughts?
My thoughts are, so far so good. 100% separate people from different departments. I don't even know how those two ended up on the same one, but I get it.
Well, keep
when
in mind,
when
right? Michael pumped all these in 24 hours. So,
Yeah, I understand. So when
Yeah.
this meeting's over, I'm going to go to my apartment and re-look at everything, see if I see something missing or something bad.
yeah.
And we also need to talk to Pred because me and Tony have cooked up a lawsuit directly against Arcadia and the judiciary based on what they did. A personal civil action lawsuit, you know, which Pred's entitled to, which just compounds everything else that your mayor's office is doing. We also have an appeal ready for that that very charge of failure to follow the court order, based
Yes.
on extra evidence we weren't afforded to collect since it was pulled mid-trial, basically. And that's that. And with that, we have our own sets of witnesses. Arcadia, Angel is one. I think state official is a witness. Who knows if they'll show up, but they pertain to the civil action portion.
Yeah.
And a couple others.
I love
Um,
it. I think as a part of this exercise, if there are writs, if there are like be it for prohibition of mandamus, etc., ones that you pull out of your ass because that is the DOJ standard. Literally Google up what writs exist and we'll fucking write docs on them. You know what I mean? Like suspending the justices and the judges until this is reviewed, because I would argue that one could argue that the DOJ should not preside on jack shit when they did this. And each one can be, you know, I'd say fucking suspend their ass. You know what I mean? So the angle that I want you to, like I said, go through this, put your comments in it. You know, y'all know how to do that, right? And when I'm back around 5 p.m., which is like in about 2.5 hours or whatever, maybe 3 hours from now, we can bang through them and see which ones need to get sent out. And even if you have opinions like these things should be split out, put them in there. And yeah, boom, boom.
Easy. The 7 p.m. with the governor situation, is that just is that like last time, where it's just you and two other people? Or are you gonna
I
bring
have
some of
asked
your
that
homies
everybody
with you?
come in, and because fucking Hollow is already checked out, and Hart literally couldn't pay attention, in my opinion. So more witnesses, the better. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, especially if they're giving weird answers like, "Oh, I wasn't even paying attention to you. I was eating cookies," and that kind of like other off.
it was very strange because there was statements made on behalf of the governor, which like heart on God was not said. So I don't even like. I mean, look. Hart is checked out. She literally said, like, she wants out. Like, she wanted to get impeached out. So like, it becomes
Why
like
not
one of
just step
those.
down at that point?
I
Why
don't
did you
know.
become a
That's
judge in the first place?
that's kind of what was frustrating about it. It was like, it was very. I don't know. I don't know what the angle is. I don't know if it's some like
Why
like
do they
I
make
don't know what the
everybody
angle is.
miserable with this shit? Like, if you want to step down, do the right thing like the other justices have, and step the fuck down and get out of the way. Like,
Yeah. So
I don't get it. Adams could do it normally.
Because she's just saying
Jackson
that to
did it
try to
normally.
remove herself from any liability now. When it all boils over, come back. Like, oh, I decided not to.
I don't want to speculate. It was just what are you supposed to do when they're like, well, I really like, you know, I'm done anyway. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I genuinely do not know. I don't even want to speculate, to be honest.
Yeah, well, like it, yeah, we should probably just
So please do take a look at that. See if there's any key facts that are missing. So, for example, it was pointing out earlier today that yesterday, Pred had already repealed the legislation that was used against him.
Yeah, it was in contest, but it was never fully addressed. So,
Yes.
But
So,
it
like,
wouldn't-
that's something, for example, that should probably be updated on the writ.
My dogs went to prison fucking shooting all them judges after I was kicked out of office. They're fucking doing time for fucking terrorism, bro.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted that terrorism charge.
Yeah, that was fucking sick, to be honest. Okay, easy. Any questions, guys?
Gotcha. So you want me to review this real quick? The one
Yeah,
that you sent to Tony?
Yeah.
I think
it's gonna
that's a
be
good
for
idea.
only.
Tony, send in the ones that you think are the most immediately applicable. Pred, if there's anything that's like missing in there, mostly like high-level line items, put a comment in there and be like, this is something that's missing, and we can fill it in.
Tony, you sent them the lawsuit.
The ones that you cooked up, no, not yet. I can do that right now too. I'll send them both.
Well, point out that the ones most immediately applicable are literally the actions on his behalf if he's wanting to go that route, which would be the appeal in the lawsuit.
All right, so statements of facts is that I also repealed the Blaine County Mayor's Office roles and responsibilities. It's actually filed in 2 different sections, City Hall and the Blaine County Mayor's
Can you
Office,
add a
and that's
comment
for
on that
process.
and just like a brief TLDR, and we'll clean it up? Oh, comment, like highlight it and then click add comment. Like highlight, then right click and do add comment.
Did I do that right?
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, did I do that right?
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah, you might need to clean
Yep.
it up because what I'm looking at is I fucked things up bad.
No,
Which
no,
document are you on?
you're good. You're good. He's looking at the writ for reinstatement. Yep.
All right,
Yeah, it
only
shows up
other
in the right
thing that
side.
the only other thing that I think should be added is that the process on which they remove me from office does not exist, and they have no authority to do what they did if they subvert the process. That's like
Yep.
a key point as well. Like, they do not have the codified power to do things the way they did. So therefore,
So-
what they did is impeachable just in that act alone. They took it upon themselves.
Yeah, so
And then-
they're leaning on, according to, this is the problem with nothing was written down. Hart was making this shit up as I go, as she went, and her opinion kept changing miraculously. I don't fucking know. One minute she'd say the sky's blue, the next minute sky's green, next minute she's like, I agree, it's blue, and then, so where she landed on was they did it based on the writing that says the DOJ, per the Constitution, shall ensure the enforcement of laws. So they're claiming that their removal of you was enforcing the legislation that they interpreted to include mayors.
But then also to be petty and it's not as petty because when it's true, it's that the process isn't outlined for removal. They don't have the power to do that. So it said the sitting mayor can be removed, but who the fuck's to remove him? That ain't defined. Like,
Precisely.
we we can play the same game that they're playing when they say it's not written down. We can also say, hey, well, that isn't written down. And it's unfortunate, right, that the game we have to play with them is this petty patty cake of what's written down and what's not.
Sorry.
You know what I mean? Like, we have to play this petty game of what's written down, what's not written down.
Well,
What do you default to logically? The process that is written down, obviously, we have to follow it. I mean, it's fucking the easiest thing to interpret from anyone to say, well, how can we do this right way to protect ourselves in the most logical way?
it's
We follow the fucking
implicitly
state
implied
legislation.
that you follow the impeachment procedure. And to say otherwise effectively opens a door that every piece of legislation can be ignored. And while what they say could be correct, that's why there needed to be due process. So what they were doing, their steps could be scrutinized as well as their evidence, right? But I think they're too stupid to recognize that. But I did.
Here's.
Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Nino. My bad.
I did let folks know as a part of this. I think Michael's going to work on it, but I'm going to do it at 5 if not. I'm going to have a document, like a hooked on phonics level of an interpretation of that Blaine County shit, because once again, I don't genuinely, like, I hate saying shit like this, but these people, I don't think they have a middle school level of understanding of the English language. Like,
well, so what are you supposed to default to? Like, here's the thing, right? What do you in that situation default to if you don't know? You figure it out. You don't just act, right? You converse and you say, hey, listen, look, this is what I just don't understand about the argument for the actions that they've done.
Yeah.
Is how did one person not just say, are we sure we should be doing this?
Well, that's the okay, look, let me be frank. If the conversation is happening in government email, then you've already created a hive mind. Because if you have like a siphoned off conversation, I'm only saying this because this is what Hart told me where it happened. It's like, if someone's like, yo, I'm trying to do this shit, everyone's going to jump on that and be like, I bet. You know what I mean? Remember, it was through the same means that Hart and Hollow signed a bunch of legislation that's being contested. And then when challenged in that meeting, like with the FOIA, they were like, oh, yeah, whoa, I did sign that. Oh, I didn't read it, though. Like, you know what I mean? So because there are no receipts, everyone is contaminated, but we don't know who made what decisions and who actually read the words, right? Even myself, during that entire conversation, didn't realize. I went on the belief that this document, Blaine County Mayor's Office Positions and Their Responsibilities, literally said the mayor had to be in good standing. However, then I went and read it afterwards, and let me read it out loud. All details, under the details section, all positions held within the office of the mayor will be of equal standing to one another and under the mayor. So by definition, this document is saying the office of the mayor that it is referencing is those that are under the mayor. So by de facto, it can't include the mayor. This is basic English syntax.
Yep. This entire thing was supposed to, as a guideline to remove people within the cabinet that are not in good standing, or they're just basically
employees. It's for
But
employees.
then
All positions
but
held
also it's
under.
been repealed. This is the key fact, is that I repealed it, and if the judge derelicts their duties to do it the way that we offer them to do it, then I have the constitutional authority and power to change legislation as I see fit. And I change legislation as I see fit. All right, they're the ones that didn't update the bullshit, because it would have just been another thing for them to fucking come after me for. I mean, these guys are giving me PTSD. Like, I'm convinced that I can't even wipe my fucking ass without them fucking being like, hey, show me that toilet paper. I want to see how much shit is on it. Did you even shit? Show me that toilet paper. You better fucking show it. All right, I want to sniff it now.
The issue too is their entire thing relies on the conclusion. I don't know, bro. This is,
I mean, not even the conclusion. Literally half a sentence.
it's oh, by their response was to one of the lines was, well, no, they defined these two things, but those aren't the only positions being referenced. I genuinely, with like, dear God, how did these guys pass high school? Like,
Look,
I
you gotta
don't
understand something.
I don't
and
understand.
It's important for everyone to know. All right? Because at the end of the day, what you guys should be aware of is that we don't have to do this if you don't want to, right? But also, we kind of owe it to the city to do it, because this is literally just a vindictive mob that throws tantrums when they don't get their way, right? And that wants to do everything their way or the fucking highway. And what type of group of individuals would we be if we sat here complicitly while a group that would, if they're willing to do this to me, if they're willing to put Nino through the stuff, they're willing to do it to anybody. And then the status quo just
that's
keeps on
why we're
winning,
doing it. Pred, I fuck with you.
There's no option.
I fuck with you, but I am not doing this even a single iota because of you, but because of what happened, and for the very same reason that if this happens like this, then what the fuck is the point? How this is going to happen to everybody? This is literally the DOJ trying to state that they are government officials. That's what they're doing. They're taking a position. They're pretending they're the fucking governor. That's what I see this as.
Look, I've been around a long time, just like a lot of you have. All right, and this is something even the senators didn't do when they removed me from being sheriff. When I was removed from being sheriff, I still had to go to court. They didn't have to give me that luxury, but the senators did give me that luxury. Right?
Yeah.
The senators also let me reapply my job, and then when I won a vote, they reinstated me, no questions asked, and apologized to me for the fucking inconvenience. Okay? Like, it's literally a replay of that, but in a more severe variety, because at least they had the decency to wake up and to tell me everything to my fucking face. Okay? At least they had the ability, they chose to approach me and tell me why they're doing something. All right? And then they threw me in jail for a bit and made me a captain in my own fucking department. I never thought I would live in a world where I would prefer that harsh treatment of those senators compared to the way I'm being treated now, because at least they established dialogue and at least they established reasoning while they were driving around with their fucking invincible shields and their battle tanks with their rocket launchers. How the fuck do they make more sense and care more about process? A bunch of fucking madmen, all right, who were shooting people outside of the courthouse for fun with APs with extended mags. But yet they had enough decency to pull me into a courtroom, hear me explain myself before they told me to go fuck myself. I'm going to prison for 60 months for contempt. And they didn't even have me shot when I stood up there and said, I don't recognize your authority and power. I do what I want. You know, I went full pred against them. And then they went full senator against me.
Yeah.
My only issue with this whole thing is that the shit is just such a headache. It's just such an unnecessary roadblock. Like, here's the thing. If you don't like
with the people being the fucking logs that are being thrown in the furnace.
Hey, let me just say something, all right? People don't like me, tough. I ain't going nowhere anytime soon. I'm here to stay, big dog. I'm fucking comfy and cozy. You're gonna have to be dealing with my shit for at least another 7 more fucking years at the very minimum. All right, so, hey, lock the fuck in. Because I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere at all, baby. All right? I'm here to stay.
All right, love it. I got a dip. Please get those comments in. I'm gonna chat with. I'll be back in like 2.5 hours ish, and make the shit. Make sure the shit's right. I'll have a game plan going into it as well.
That I think should be easiest because I'm gonna have to dip out in a bit too.
Okay.
All right, I got other things I'm trying to do. I'm trying to go to LA today. All right, so. I'm gonna make some.
Okay.
I'm going to make some key points to you guys that are very important and imperative. And if you have any questions, you just shoot me an email, and in a couple hours, I'll be able to update it myself. But if we want to work immediately, it's how we're going to have to do it, all right? Is that okay with you guys? I don't want you to feel like I'm wasting your time.
Yeah.
Or using you as my little paperwork bitches. All right, but we all know that I'm a fucking, you know, I'm a goddamn tard that literally went to add something, and all I did was add a line through what I fucking typed barely any of, and then when I added the comment, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So, okay, there we are. Do you really want me adding shit? Probably not. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's been a long time since I've had to do anything like that. I still write things in a journal with a pen. That's the type of man I am, and I accept that. But I still am a man that's intelligent. An intelligent man. I'm a genius.
Okay, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Okay, so the key important facts that we got to have here are what? I filed directly myself the appeal of the charge. All right, it's in two different filing cabinets. You know, the City Hall and the Blaine County official one. All right. The justices derelicted their duties, so what happens? It should default, you know, past a certain point to where, hey, well, I take it they don't have a problem with it then. So everything that I put in around that time should be law, right? I have the constitutional right to do that, so we should default to the Constitution. All right, we got to point out that the process at which they created themselves on the fly does not exist, and their power is not codified to do so. All right, they do not have the ability to do what they did. All right, it was a grave injustice on the highest magnitude. All right, another key point. All right, it was the strangest argument to have, really. I mean, Nino was there. Hearing that state law and county law, when they conflict, it doesn't default to state law, is odd to me, because the way I interpreted it is that that legislation particularly intersects with the state law for what the removal process is. And for them to say because it's not directly cited in the legislation is idiotic to me, because it doesn't have to be directly said in the legislation if it's state legislation. So they ignored the actual process. All right. Another thing that's important to note is that we don't know the grounds on which this whole thing happened, as I was never given an ability to retort any type of decision or any type of evidence presented against me for the decision that they made. And another key point is that if this is the process, why wasn't I fired, right, on the spot? All right, so what does that point out? Bias, right? They now have a reason that they want to throw me out because I made Raddick temporary sheriff or interim sheriff or whatever. So they went ahead and went with it then. But then how can they say what I declared as mayor is wrong because blah, 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 right? I mean, they have no legal right. They're operating in a full form of legality and corruption. Like, there's no other way to point it. All right, there's that. I mean,
Agreed.
That's just how it is.
I would even say that I'm going to very much be targeting, once again, their aptitude with the English language. How the fuck do you even have a bar license when you can't, like, you're retarded?
Well, here's the thing that we have to point out, and I think the governor, this will go a long way with the governor. It's not us doing things and trying to subvert any processes. It is them. It is 100% them. Now, could you argue that I subverted the process when I made a new interim sheriff? You could. But guess what exists?
You have to go to court for that.
Exactly. You have to go to court because here's the thing, right? What happens when the Constitution conflicts with legislation? It hasn't been proven yet, right? It's never gone to court. The Constitution and legislation conflicting with each other because the legal rights of the sitting mayor, but it's doctored.
Yeah, exactly. They have to audit it. They can go through a million different ways. It just it doesn't. Yeah, I think you're right, and this is kind of the basis of what's going to be brought up, is by the judges effectively coming up with their own rules and taking steps that go counter to existing legislation. Then if they can do that, then why couldn't you do what you did?
Exactly. And then, but see, then that kind of goes back to something that was like stated earlier as well. How are they doing things if it's not codified, if they can't shadow edit the legislation anymore? And then what happens with all the things that were shadow legislated? I feel like we all agree that, you know, that shit's fucked up and it shouldn't stand. So
well, the thing is, they kept saying like, hey, we want to audit it. We would just audit it, just audit it, just audit it. These motherfuckers show up for 15 minutes a fucking day, like on average, maybe less. So who's gonna fucking come through and get all this shit done? The fact of the matter is that these people do not give a fuck. They're out. Hollow is not interested. He's probably the most interested, but even he's checked out. Hart literally is waiting to exit out. These people don't care yet, but they care enough to come out and slap asses with Ventura. So
That's the funny thing is because he walked out with them out of that chamber when it happened.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I don't understand is how exactly do you, in a position, as you a member of the judiciary, right, whether that be judge or justice, how are you comfortable with hearing only one side? How? It subverts everything that you stand for.
well,
like how can you say I'm guilty?
Maybe there's like a
until
fucking
proven
promotion
innocent?
on the table. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know if there's going to be anyone getting promoted, because I mean, how many people were in? Here's the thing that we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how many or who was all involved, right? We have no fucking clue, and we can never know.
We can say implicitly they were all involved if we go based on Hart's responses to me and Dr. Naya, which was this was discussed in government emails and you can't get them FOIA'd. And when I tried to explain that, hey,
Oh, I assure you,
Yeah.
you can get them FOIA'd. It's just a bitch.
what do you mean? That's
Yeah, you can get them FOIA'd.
I mean, to be honest, they FOIA'd their own fucking internal communications for the FOIA on the bank records for the BCSO one. So, like, why now? Is it because they're judges? I mean, if you think about it, even back in the Riker case, they FOIA'd internal communications like that. What's stopping them now?
Because when Serenade used to be a judge, and based on, look, let's just say it's very difficult to FOIA things.
Why is every former judge pro us? I could not, like, does that not paint a picture of, like, there being an agenda in place and people who didn't agree with it aren't welcome in the goddamn cabinet, but the people who do, it's like, it literally is a fucking hive mind. It's disgusting. It's not
think
right.
that one of the things that I'm going to be bringing up is that I think justices should actually be I think the whole judge legislation needs to be revisited. I think elected judges should be upgraded based on criterion, right? Removed based on criterion and upgraded from elected, because elected judges aren't are so okay. The justices which remained, which was Angel, pretty much got to effectively handpick Hart and Hollow, because they are the ones who pick. The justices then subsequently are able to pick people to become appointed judges, who are the highest form of judge in the city. The people can bring in, elected judges. You with me so far? But they can't do shit. They can only do bench trials. So unless you're like slurping on that knob of the DOJ justice, you don't get a promotion, right? So inherently, it's designed around nepotism. I am one of the closing arguments I'm going to make, and the thing I'm going to bring up is, look, if these people don't give a fuck, there should be judges that do give a fuck. That if you are elected, if you've been in power for like 2 months, you should get upgraded. You should get upgraded to standing judge. If you do X amount of bench trials, you should go up a notch, right? And then of the pool of judges, there should be a democratic process that can promote them to justices, similar to every other civilized Western world, right? In the United States, it's presidents and company and Congress and shit that pick it. That similar system needs to take place to break this nepotistic chain.
Here's what I think. I think we've cooked. We know what we got to do. We know what we got to say. Hopefully, myself, Tony, and Abby are able to join us in the conversation, because I feel like an outside perspective from someone who's been not only like have they been involved, but they've been a witness to everything that's going on, from the court cases, right, to everything. I think their point of view is very important, right? And if if we can just have like everybody have a platform to be able to share their opinion, that way, because I already know how this is going to go. All right, we're going to go to a meeting, all right, and we're going to be there for a while, and it's going to be arguing with the DOJ about a whole bunch of whataboutisms while
But not
ignoring
with the
everything that's
I don't think
concrete.
the governor is going to stand for that. It was pretty to the point with the last set of things.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So
It's
I want to point out that this meeting, he came in, my cabinet put that letter together. He responded to it. We had to wait on the DOJ to show up. We then reviewed that document twice, of which they put very little contribution towards. The governor then read through the entire document and agreed with it wholesale. So I'm going to make the argument, and that is the most important piece of document after the Constitution, right? Because it's how new legislation comes in play. This squad has done more than the DOJ to push things forward, right? And I think in the same vein, these documents that have landed on his desk, they're going to need to come with actual defensible counter arguments. And the bullshit emotion-based statements that they've been relying on, I don't see them flying. They're not going to be like, oh, but I feel this way. Or, hey, well, I think we can ignore legislation. They're going to need to be able to actually logically explain their thought process. And trust me, when I tried to get it out of them, they didn't have that in them. So we'll see how that goes.
all right. So I'll see you guys tonight in about 5 hours.
Me and
Easy.
Tony need 10, 15 minutes from you.
All right.
All right. Right to the point. Let's start by I linked you to that email chain. If you could open up the civil action document, have a look at that. That actually entails a lot of things you just said now, almost as if I'm reading your minds. It's crazy. The appeal document in the other room, we'll get to that next, but we're going to need some evidence from you, like your communications with Leah about setting her up as treasurer. And then once you understand these, we're looking to file these kind of soon. And, just look at these and let's see where we go. And Tony,
Add an extra 0 to everything. Fuck them.
I did put $1 million there for one of them, but I can do
Nah,
that.
make it fucking 10 and make the other one 5. Fuck them.
I got you.
All right. This is the biggest case ever. All right. We're adding them fucking zeros. All right, that's life right there. All right, them pockets are gonna be empty.
I can read this to you too, if you prefer.
No. I got it. I'm going through it right now. I think that. Give me a second. You know what I think we should. So are we including the court case findings that have had me on lockdown for the last 5 weeks, 5+ weeks as well, right?
Well, yeah,
We'll
the
do it all at
language in
once.
there basically says it completely nullified you from performing any of your elected duties, which includes everything. Being that's a statement of claim, we get the broader overview, and when the trial happens, we can get the lighter strokes of every little thing that happened.
I don't think you want to call state official as a witness. He's the one that's going to have to preside this.
Yeah, that was another question of mine. So I think just Arcadia as a witness is fine, because really she's the one who signed her name on it and put it out there. And if she wants to name and snitch, then she can do that.
All right, so here's the plan that I think. I think this is good to go, but I think what we should have is witnesses pending, and we should depose Arcadia. Find out really who was involved, and then, bam, we call a bunch of other witnesses. I mean, if this is going to be a $10-15 million lawsuit, right? A sitting mayor being, treated unjustly and unfairly, then what we need to do is we need to do this whole thing right. So what we do is we depose Judge Arcadia Grayson, and then we call forth the witnesses from her testimony. And then, if people choose not to show up, we have information that we can submit that other people can't contest, and guess what? The judge is going to see that as the most likely
negligence.
Yeah, and it only furthers their.
I know, chat. I know. We'll be back on Tugs in a sec.
Stronger. So that's what I think the plan should be: depose Arcadia. You know, maybe even depose that fucking pussy that was with her, that was in that fucking pink suit, looking like a bottle of Pepto.
Falconer?
Oh yeah, let's do
Yeah,
that.
Falconer. You know, get both of them deposed in a court of law, and then we go from there. And then, bam, what we do is we have the information, we blew open the scope. And then you call in the other people, and then you say, hey, we got these people. We got everything under fucking control.
Yeah, so that'll look like this. This will go up when it goes up, and then there, immediately after will be a motion to depose the 2 witnesses.
Anything else you need from me?
The second thing is just take a look at the appeal document. Keep in mind, I would like to get from you, if possible, your communication with Leah that supports what you're saying, as well as a picture.
We're gonna have to call her as a witness.
Yeah, we are calling her as a witness, and I just want to see kind of text record, email, anything where, like, if it doesn't exist, that's fine, but if you have it, perfect. And then the second thing, the financial record of, like a picture of your
Don't worry,
bank.
I'll open Photoshop tonight.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean,
and then we'll line that up with Leah's testimony, and all will be good.
Would we? Because all we really need from Leah is to say she approved it. Why not just assign affidavit?
Well, also,
They
what she
pussied out
has
with
to do
Nakota on
is
that one.
It's important for her to talk about how she tried to get her official keys but was denied.
Yes.
The key thing is pissing me off every time I hear it, because it's like, then you're the
That's what they
mayor.
think the most
You're
important
literally
thing is.
Blaine County mayor right now.
Yeah.
So like, this is so fucking retarded. It's just like, why do these retards have any power? I don't understand. Like, why are they not using any fucking brain cells? It's literally like, it's like the rules just keep changing every day. Oh, she didn't have, because you just reminded me, she's not the treasurer, even though you appointed it, because she doesn't have keys. She doesn't have tags. Yet you have tags and you're not the mayor. Oh, Bones is the sheriff because he's got the tags, even though there was a state announcement. Say, like, what the fuck?
Look, I'm just gonna be honest, guys. I'm not too worried. They keep giving. I don't understand how they keep fucking up. I would be so easy to get out of office. I could get me out of office in a heartbeat. All right, I'm easier to get out of office than fucking Abdul.
They don't want. Listen, because they're fucking lazy. They don't give a fuck. And if they did, they would have taken the minimum amount to actually, like, I don't know, post something up on the docket, and that instead of doing some ratty shit that has now put us in such a fucking awkward position to begin with. I can't wait for that 7 p.m. meeting. I'll see you guys.
I'll be there